Shri Paramatmane Namaha. Dear Divine Selves, a very warm welcome to all of you in this discourse on the supreme secret of life, greatest mystery of existence. As the title suggests, supreme secret of life. You would wonder what is secret, at least in this life. And that too, supreme secret. It does mean that there won't be a higher and superior secret pertaining to life than the one I am likely to talk about. So what's that? You would wonder, and an average rational discriminative mind would wonder, as if, is this a rhetoric? Supreme secret of life? There is no secret in life. We know about our lives, and some of the unknown mysteries regarding biology and psychology have been unraveled by the latest developments in the field of science. The modern science has made tremendous progress, and we are celebrating the unraveling of the mysteries pertaining to our life. But have we wondered all these scientific discoveries, technological innovations might have made our life physically a bit comfortable, brought each one of us closure, but has it reduced the tremendous gap between an average human being's set of desires and dreams and their fulfillment that we are able to realize, experience in our personal lives? Take the history a bit back, 1000 years ago or 500 years ago, before the dawn of industrial revolution in the West. The fundamental parameters of well-being of a human being and the life of a human being on which their well-being was measured and could be measured with that of the modern latest internet and mobile era, instant information era. Do we really believe that we are much more happy, much more joyful in our daily lives than those who are living 500 years ago, 1000 years ago, 2000 years ago? This is the fundamental question that even the recent philosophers and scientists have been trying to explore and do comparative studies. The gap between the expectations, desires, and the fulfillment that a society and immediate environment, economic and political structure provides to our lives, within our lives, which ultimately defines the quality of our lives. All the studies, recent studies by the scientists and philosophers have revealed that in none of the parameters has human happiness taken in a holistic manner increased. In fact, tremendous decline, a corresponding decline is being seen, observed in many societies, particularly the so-called materially, scientifically advanced countries and cultures and people. Are not the resources of all the universities, academics, political institutions, economic institutions trying to explore and understand as to how to make miraculous, magical transformation in the life and the way life an ordinary human being on this planet is living. But despite all these discoveries and inventions, the fundamental gap between the state of dreams and desires every human being has and their fulfillment remains broadly. In fact, the gap has increased. So, what is the secret pertaining to life if that is revealed, realized? The gap between our hopes, desires, dreams, expectations and the actual intimate personal experience of the life we live is closed. Very fundamental point to be noted. As long as there is gap between my state of dreams and desires and hopes and expectations and their fulfillment, the hunt will continue, the search will continue, the mind will continue to run after one or the other. And the sages, seers, philosophers and mystics from across the world who have delved deeper in thousands of years into the mysteries of life tell us that not a single mystery of life could be understood beyond life. The mystery of life couldn't be understood outside life, that is, in the nature. The entire realm of scientific discoveries in the last 400-500 years are all delving deeper only in external gross nature, including this body. Body is not an inner entity, it's a physical gross reality. Whatever discoveries we have made in the name of exact sciences are limited to the external world, material world, the nature. And the greatest philosophers, spiritual masters who have gone deeper within in search of the supreme secret governing and guiding our life, they tell us that the entire bunch of secrets is essentially emanate from only one secret, and that secret is not hidden or available in external, visible, gross material world. It's available and it could be discovered, experienced in the innermost core of our existence, right within ourselves. That mystery, the supreme secret of our life and entire existence, is lying hidden, veiled. So how to unravel that supreme secret, that greatest mystery? Why do I call it supreme secret? I call it supreme secret because all the problems without exception, physical, mental, emotional, material, economic, intellectual, political, social, cultural, natural, all these problems and troubles and sorrows and suffering pertaining to them emanate simply because of the ignorance, unawareness of that supreme secret. Just one secret being not known, the life has become so miserable. Let's try to explore what is that supreme secret in our life. Forget about life of others, forget about history, forget about future, forget about fellow humans or fellow animal kingdom or anything. Let's focus our energy about our lives, the life we know. We know nothing better and no one better than our own lives. So, try to analyze. Go in flashback from childhood and analyze your own life. What in that life? What happened? No. What in this entire phase of your life have been running after? What have you been hankering after? What are you chasing? You are not chasing too many things. You are not chasing hundreds, thousands, millions and billions of things. On the face of it, it would appear, no, we are chasing, we are hankering after millions and billions of objects, beautiful persons, beautiful. None. If you deeply analyze every single thought in your mind, every single desire in your heart, every word of yours, every action undertaken by your body, coolly, calmly, passionately, but a bit intelligently, you yourself would come to the conclusion that you are changing behind the facade of changing hundreds and thousands of things. You are changing just one thing. In each and every thought of yours, word of yours, action of yours, you are running after, aspiring for only one thing. That thing is called in Vedanta philosophy bliss, Ananda. Ananda is a technical term, very comprehensive term in Vedanta, and it's loosely translated in English either as bliss or as love, both meaning the same. So, is it so? And this truth I was suggesting you to explore within ourselves as humans, but those who had the capacity to understand the mystery of the entire nature tell us that not only the humans, but every single living being in the universe is running after nothing, hankering after nothing, chasing nothing, working and aspiring for nothing but bliss and bliss alone. Since he or she perceives the presence of that bliss in thousands and millions and billions and trillions of objects or walks, he might be running after thousands and millions and billions and trillions of objects, but in all of them, he and she is chasing nothing but bliss and bliss alone. Vedas say one of the very fundamental principles of Vedas about life and existence is that every living being in the universe is born out of bliss and love, existing and living in love and bliss and for love and bliss, constantly moving towards love and bliss, and finally would be fully absorbed back into that supreme bliss alone. That bliss in Vedanta philosophy is called Anandamaya. One of the names of Brahman, the supreme reality in Vedanta philosophy, is also Anandamaya. The entire range of and dimension of bliss and love is centered in that supreme reality alone. Bliss and love in their millions and billions and trillions of dimensions emanate from just one source, and that source is self, Atman. There is nothing in the existence which has a single particle, a petty speck of love or bliss, except in the self. Self alone is seat, center, substance, source and substratum of all love, all bliss, all beauty that we, through our sensory perception, observe, experience in our day-to-day life. Its center is just there, in the self within. So now we will get the first principle of that mystery. I am saying not on the basis of just study of the scriptures and philosophical treatises. After the reading of those fundamental principles, I have experimented for long. I have tried to explore within what I have been chasing after since childhood. What have I been aspiring for? What I am running after? And after intense and in-depth analysis of my own events of life, I find that I am really running after nothing except that supreme bliss, unconditional. Unconditional word has to be understood in the right perspective. Unconditional does mean that the bliss, the kind of bliss which is not conditioned by anything, anyone, whether time or space or time or climate or circumstances. The bliss, the love that is unhindered, unobstructed, and available without effort. The effortless access to that supreme reservoir of bliss alone is called unconditioned bliss, and Vedantic philosophy is referring to that alone. It hasn't to be created, manufactured, built up from somewhere. So, the first mystery or the first important dimension of that supreme secret of life is that we are, through every word of ours, through every thought of ours, through every desire of ours, through every action of ours, are seeking nothing but love and bliss alone in its myriads of manifestations and dimensions. So, what next? Are we getting it? How to get it? If that is the only thing that each one of us, not only the humans, but all living beings are seeking for, you're getting also, a rational mind would tell you, no, I have got some love, I have some sense of love, I have got some happiness, sensual pleasure, some joy. Of course you do have. I also do have. Each one of us have. Every animal, living creature, the birds, the animals, the reptiles, the mammalians, all of them do have. But just a particle of that you manage to get. Vrihadaranyaka Upanishad says that ordinary living beings, including humans, subsist. The term is very, and this term I am translating from Adi Shankara's commentary. Subsistence, somehow manage, you call subsistence economy, subsistence allowance, just bare management of that, your needs. So, you are hungry for love and bliss, and you get some also, but that is just a particle of your requirement. You require love and bliss in infinite measure. You want to remain blissful and in love, unhindered, unbroken. But you get only momentary pleasure. Have you enjoyed a single event in your entire life and a single pleasure, sensual pleasure of all kinds, which has lasted uninterrupted even for 24 hours? Never. You didn't. And your demand is, your requirement is access to the reservoir of love and bliss, unbroken for infinity, in everlasting manner. So, unhappiness, anxiety, depression, sadness, remorsefulness in the life are natural. So, before we move to the second point, now we have come to know that we are seeking love, bliss, joy. This is our fundamental desire, which we are trying to fulfill through various legitimate or illegitimate means, methods and modes. I am going to make a very fundamental personal statement. Even the Vedanta philosophers would disagree with me. I dare challenge them. Listen carefully. Most of the metaphysical philosophies of the world, not only Vedanta, tell you that desires are the problem. Every other sentence in every treatise on Vedanta will tell you your desires are your bondage. Your vasanas, kamanas, your trishnas. Buddha also says, Vedanta also says, Krishna also says, Jesus Christ says much more strongly. And the rest of the philosophies also say desires are the problem. My deeper understanding, I said that my Vedanta philosopher friends also won't agree. But my observation and my personal finding and personal intimate experience is based on a deeper reading and reflection on the fundamentals of Vedanta philosophy. And this is like, as I am going to tell you, I and my understanding, deeper understanding of the nuanced dimensions of Vedanta philosophy and all the spiritual systems tell me that desires are not the problem. Superficially, prima facie, of course, we are running after to fulfill those desires. To this extent, it is a problem. But this is a half truth. This is not full truth. This is Ardha Satya. The full truth is, and that I am saying on the strength of my understanding of Vedanta philosophy, the full truth is that desires per se are not the bondage. They are not ignorance. They are not a barrier between you and your supreme objective. Their mode, means and methods of fulfillment are. I'll repeat it. It's a very fundamental statement I am making after so many years of in-depth, and it will be challenged, and I'm prepared for that. What I am saying, the desire and state of desires per se is not a problem. It is not obstructing your journey to the supreme realization or God realization or your attainment of your supreme nature, but the mode, means and methods we adopt to fulfill these desires is really bondage. Let me explain it further. We, out of ignorance, think that we will focus on that ananda because everything is there only. It's revolving the entire life and existence. We think that every dimension of that ananda, the joy, happiness, bliss and love we are seeking is available only outside me. Either some external person, beautiful man, woman, beautiful object. We never realize that the desire of love, bliss, beauty, if Vedas say is intrinsic to all living beings, how can you tell and declare it sinful? In Bible, wherever you see the term sinful, and it's frequently used in Bible, both in Old Testament as well as New Testament, invariably in more than 90% of situations that sin and sinful act and sinfulness is referred for nothing but sexual indulgence. The scholars of the Bible will tell you, my Christian scholar friends will tell you. So that's called sin, the greatest sin. Every single act of sexual indulgence is declared in Bible as sinful. In Oriental philosophies, particularly Vedanta and all that, it is not, though it has also been declared as the problem number one, but not as sin. Nothing is declared here as sin. Vedanta especially doesn't consider anything as sinful or virtuous. Vedanta is an effort to transcend the all dualities. Therefore, if Vedas say that we are born out of ananda, bliss, we exist in and for ananda, and we will absorb back. And Brihadaranyaka Upanishad also says, Yajnavalkya in his dialogue with Maitreyi, search for bliss, search for love is not illegitimate. Search of that in ephemeral, illusory objects is the problem. Why? I do need 10 crore rupees to build a house. Suppose I do need an amount of rupees 10 crore to build a house I need to live there. Somebody promises, Swamiji, I'll give you not only 10 crore, I'll give you 20 crore rupees. I say, please give me, what's the problem? He says, Swamiji, take it. And he gives a check of 20 crore. And then he requests me to shower blessings on him. I shower the blessing, I take the check. I go in the bank, deposit in the bank. The next day, I get a ring from the bank manager. Swamiji, it was a fraudulent account. This account has been closed long ago. The Swami was elated. Oh, I was in the need of 10 crore only. Oh, this man is such a generous person. He has given 20 crore. I'll build 2 houses. Every single promise of love, bliss, joy, pleasure you get in the world through sensory pleasure is that fraudulent check. The mistake happens there only. The ignorance lies there only, not in the desire per se. Vedas say, Vedanta philosophy says that by nature we are blissful. We can't live for a moment without bliss. Can a fish be expected to live out of water? Can you live, any living being live outside the hydrosphere without air? You can't survive even for a few minutes without air. It's granted, taken for granted. You see, since I have come to Delhi, I'm just thinking of, I should have got one air purifier installed. Delhi is too polluted, I'm suffocating. I have closed all my windows. Just a few days. But I'm used to pure air in the Himalayas, so I'm feeling suffocated. You can't live without air. Similarly, the bliss is most fundamental need, desire of each and every living being. So, what is the hypothesis now? What is the supreme secret? The supreme secret is that what all of us are seeking after, running after, begging for is not illegitimate or wrong or malified. It's right. But we are searching it in the wrong place. We are looking for it in the places where it doesn't exist. I want to enjoy the real beauty of a full moon, glowing full moon. In the painting of that full moon, that's the problem. The entire phenomenal world and the objects of pleasure which promise to provide that love, bliss, joy are illegitimate. I am using this in my term. Illegitimate, both malified objects in the sense they are all illusory. Not by design, they themselves know. They are not the seat, center and source of love and bliss. It's a reflected bliss. It's the shadow of love and bliss that is there in them. That love, bliss, joy, and in infinite quantity for eternity, it is available in the core of my own existence. What is the innermost core of my existence? The innermost core of my existence is that which illumines and reveals every single act of mine, every thought of mine, every single cell of my body is being revealed and illumined by that and that alone, and that is called Atman. When I am raising my hand, when I am speaking with slow voice or loud voice, who is deciding, who is illuminating that decision? Every single, to raise my palms or hand or a finger, so instantly it's happening. Who is doing? Not body. From top to bottom, that self of the nature of pure intelligence, pure consciousness, pure awareness, alone is the source, center and seat of that bliss, love, joy, pleasure. It's available right here, right now. It was available always. It is available always. It would be ever present here. But you might have seen, I have seen so many people, particularly old age people. I myself do. Sometimes for reading, I say, oh, where is my speck? And sometimes it's just there. I put it that way. I've seen so many people, it's hung around their neck and they are looking for this speck. Where is my speck? All around the house. So, the bold, simple declaration and that supreme secret of life now I am making is this. That whatever you are seeking, searching, hunting for, looking for through millions and millions of incarnations, ages, and also if you don't believe in, forget it. I'm not bothered. Analyze this life also. Even if you are an atheist or agnostic, my philosophy applies equally to each and every one of us. Analyze the events of your own life, this life, and then the conclusion is that we are seeking through every single thought of our mind, every single cell of our body, every act of our body and senses, every word of our life, nothing but bliss and love alone. And if this is what we have been looking for, this is what we have been searching for, and since morning to evening, 24/7, we are working very hard to get this and this alone, the paraphernalia of marriage and network of family and relationships we have created is nothing but infrastructure, human infrastructure and network and paraphernalia you have created for that bliss, securing bliss and love alone, nothing else. And it's a supreme mystery, the supreme secret of existence, because what you are seeking in the external world, you are working day in and day out, you are taking so much of risk in the life to get that love and bliss and joy and pleasure. Even that momentary particle, the momentary pleasure comes after a lot of effort. You have to work very hard to get that object of your love and joy. Nothing is free in the world. But the supreme secret, those who have unraveled, and that's why it's a supreme secret, realize that for which we have been running after for millions and millions of ages and years and incarnations is ever present within ourselves, and if at all you could be got hold of, that would be possible only within ourselves. If we get hold of that in the external world, and we do get, that is only an illusion, a shadow, just as if I stand up before a mirror, it looks as I am there only. It's an appearance, that mirror. Mirror reflecting myself is an appearance, illusion. Similarly, the entire phenomenal world is nothing but a reflection of that pure awareness, the Atman, which has appeared as diverse. That one indivisible, non-dual pure awareness has appeared as multiple, diversified. It cannot be divided. My consciousness and your consciousness are not two, not different, indivisible reality. The consciousness and intelligence that is illuminating your life at this moment, which enables you to listen to me, to understand the meaning of the words, is the same which enables me to speak out. Which language I have to speak, which words and grammar I have to keep in mind to make a sense to what I am trying to suggest. Every single thing is being illumined, and it's happening in the light of pure intelligence, in the light of consciousness. And the next dimension of that supreme secret is this. The next dimension, there are three dimensions of that supreme secret. The first, I have explained to you that Ananda, the bliss alone, is what is driving every moment of our life. Second, and the mystery part is that it is not in the external world, it's right here. The second dimension is analyze your life. Have you come across a single living being, not only humans, living being, an ant, a fly, a mosquito, a squirrel, a mouse, a jackal, a sparrow, a crow, a tiger, anyone loving to be killed, harmed, hurt? Have you? If you run after a dog or a cat to hit it with a rod, does it love it? Does it invite a smile at you? None, none, none. 1-year-old child, a few months old child, if you create a look, ferocious look, it starts crying, understands. It senses the fear, the harming dimension of your emotions and vibrations. He starts hurting. That's why it starts crying. Just you raise your hand towards a small child, it will start crying. Do we ever love to be extinguished, killed? There is none in the living existence who doesn't want to be immortal. Each one of us has a fundamental desire to be immortal. We don't want to die. Even a mosquito doesn't want to die. A fish doesn't want to die. A fly doesn't want to die. A cow or a buffalo or a tiger, none. No one wants to die. So what is the hypothesis now, or the conclusion coming from this? See, Vedanta is a rational and scientific philosophy to help us understand and examine and analyze our life. We read the books, but books and conclusions of books are of secondary importance only. So that's why I'm trying to make you understand the life that is ours. The fundamentals I am talking about are not for either sannyasi or a garhastha or animals, or not, irrespective of all the caste, gender, good, bad, ugly, these fundamental principles are governing entire existence. So, we come to the conclusion about the second dimension of that supreme secret, that there is not a single living being who would like to perish, who would like to be killed, who doesn't want to be immortal. We, all of us, want to exist for eternity. But do we? We don't. Here is the catch now. Why don't we want to die? Why do we wish to remain for eternity? It's simply because we are eternal in our reality. In our true nature, we are not perishable, not momentary, not ephemeral, not subject to birth, death, and decay. We are unborn, not subject to death and birth. We are in our true nature eternal, immortal reality, and therefore the manifestations in the form of all living beings do have a lingering desire, hidden, very strong, intimate desire to live somehow. You must have seen so many people that even if somebody's one hand has been chopped off through surgery, two legs, both of the legs are gone in bomb blast or somehow due to some surgery, is still the person has an intense desire to live the life. What makes, what inspires, and what drives that person to live still despite all the handicaps? He or she is unable to even feed. He doesn't have. There are so many people who don't have one hand. There are people who have none of the hands or none of the legs. Still they have the desire to live forever, simply because of that principle that in truth, in their supreme reality, they are immortal. They are not subject to death, destruction, and decay, and that inherent nature of theirs is somehow inspiring to withstand the all momentary pressures that want to extinguish the life, want to kill that life. So fighting spirit is coming out of the true nature of ours, that is immortal. Immortal, and that immortality alone is called truth, that existence. So the second hypothesis we get about the mystery is all of us intrinsically, by nature, not by reading books, our own observation about ourselves, our fellow humans and fellow living beings tells us that none of us wants to die. All of us want to remain forever, exist forever, live forever. And it is because of the fact, now this I am saying on the basis of the scriptures and those who have gone within, and slowly I am also realizing part of that our desire to live forever is simply because we are eternal, we are immortal in our core of our existence. This is peripheral, the body, mind, senses, illusory, transitory, shadow. The form and name is transient, ephemeral, and it has to go. So the one who is trying to remain immortal, live forever, is not this body. Though due to ignorance, you want to make your body immortal, that won't happen. That is perishable. But we have mixed up, due to ignorance and darkness within, we have identified ourselves as nothing but body, Dehatma Buddhi. Body as self is the root cause of all this bondage, sorrow and suffering. So first principle we have got about the existence, the first mystery of the existence, the supreme secret of existence. The first dimension of that secret is that all of us are seeking and have been seeking and will continue to seek nothing and nothing but bliss and love, and we are not going to be satisfied permanently unless and until we get that bliss and joy and love in infinite quantity, unconditional love, that is called technically, and that lies within ourselves, within our heart. That's the first dimension. The second dimension is essentially our desire to exist forever, live forever, not to die, either due to disease or for any external forces or factors, is simply because we are essentially eternal. We are essentially immortal. That inspires us to fight all efforts to kill us, extinguish us. And now I come to third and final dimension, the fundamental dimension of that supreme secret, and that too on the basis of our life, rational analysis of our events of our life, the feelings, the hopes, aspirations, desires we are trying to fulfill, will tell us that we are seeking light by nature. In this particular dimension, there is slight difference between the human race and the rest of the animal kingdom, because the state of evolution of the animal kingdom is slightly different than that of the state of humans at present. So essentially that same pure intelligence is pervading the life of that ant, that lizard also, but the lizard, the ant or the fly or the mosquito is not aware about its that consciousness part, the light of consciousness. We are seeking light of consciousness. It's not ordinary life. The light of the sun and the light of fire are ordinary fires. The light I am talking about, and the physicists tell you that the entire universe is nothing but an infinite energy filled of light and light alone. Everything boils down to dissolves into the formless light. The light present within my heart as the self, the pure intelligence, pure awareness, which is illuminating my words, which word I have to speak out, with what meaning, what I have to say, and the same light present within you is illuminating your hearing faculty as an equipment. So the words which are reaching through your ear and processed in the mind and then finally are illumined and revealed, saying something to you, that is the light. That is called Chida, Chaitanya. third dimension of that supreme secret. All the efforts of the mankind, especially by the scientists and philosophers, to unravel the mysteries of the nature and life are just their search for unraveling the hidden dimensions and parts of our life. All the inventions or discovery in physics, chemistry, biology, or all the other sciences for which you announce every year you get and you come to know Nobel Prizes, are nothing but innate desire of the human beings to access the infinite light, where nothing remains in darkness, nothing remains under wrap, nothing remains veiled. You want everything to be unveiled. Everything should be illumined and revealed before ourselves as transparent, crystal clear reality. This too is one of the innate desires of all beings. And these three dimensions constituting the supreme secret of our life, governing each and every moment of life, alone constitute what we are. I am for the first time using the term, I deliberately didn't use. The typical Vedanta philosopher or a sannyasi would have started with that, but I deliberately avoided it to make it a religious or a spiritual exercise. No, I want it to remain a scientific inquiry. Now, it would be very easier for you to ask the question, who I am. Koham. In Sanskrit they call Koham. This is the most fundamental question around which the entire philosophies of the world have veered around and evolved around. What I am, who am I? And I reverse the process. I explain the mysteries, the fundamentals. Some of the fundamentals, it has to be explained further. It will happen in other discourses later. But the fundamental will remain the same, that now I am making the fundamental statement. I am what? I am seeking. You are what? You have always been seeking. If you are seeking money, if you are seeking name, fame, power, wealth, love, joy, bliss, you are that alone. You cannot seek anything which is not intrinsic to your ultimate existence. The only problem is that out of our ignorance of our true nature, we think that, oh, I am seeking love or bliss or happiness or immortality or the light, the three dimensions, are not within me. They are outside. Here comes the catch. So, to understand the mystery of our life, the supreme secret of life, as long as you continue to look for bliss, search for immortality, and seek the light in the external world, it would be illusory, momentary, and ephemeral alone. Your search, your desire is genuine, bona fide, authentic, because you are that. You are Ananda, essentially. So you are looking for different dimensions of Ananda. Joy, pleasure, even including sensual pleasure. Sensual pleasure too is a particle of the joy of Brahman in Panchadashi. Categorically Swami Vidyaranya tells Vishayananda and Vasanananda are reflections, shadows, and a particle of Brahmananda only, because there is nowhere else the Ananda is present other than that in the Brahman. So that Brahman and the Ananda of Brahman alone manifest even in the vasanas, sensual pleasures. So we are seeking essentially that infinite bliss, unconditioned love, immortal joy, absolute, the term is absolute, unconditioned, nirankusha, which cannot be and would not be conditioned, affected by any external force. I alone am the emperor and owner of that absolute immortal existence, eternal bliss, and pure light of consciousness. That I am, and I only exist. I am a non-dual reality. There is none other than me. In my true nature, I alone am Brahman. I alone am Atman. I alone am known as existence. I am eternal. I am immortal. I am self-effulgent of the nature of the light. I alone illumine every single experience of joy and sorrow, the pain and pleasure, the good and bad. It's my light which manifests. Me, not the body. Me, the seer within, the Atman, Paramatman, Brahman, they are the words. The reality is one. The witnessing consciousness, Sakshi Chaitanya. The witnessing consciousness which is illuminating and revealing every single experience of my life is my ultimate reality, is my ultimate nature, and that alone is the repository, source, seat and center of all love, all bliss, all joy, and all immortality belongs to me and me alone. Consciousness by nature is blissful, as heat and light are intrinsic and inherent in fire. If there is a bonfire, you don't go and beg before the fire, give me heat, give me light. In the morning when the sun arises, you don't have to beg before the sun so that, oh please give me also, please give me light, give me some heat also. I have a solar panel installed. You don't have to. The sun inherently, intrinsically, naturally emits light and heat, as fire intrinsically, naturally can't but emit light and heat. Consciousness, the pure intelligence I do have, that pure awareness, the field of pure awareness by nature is blissful. Its nature, it's inherent. All the love, all the bliss, all the joy we have been hankering after, running after, begging for before the world is my nature, is inherent to me. I alone manifest. I the beauty in the beautiful women and handsomeness in the men, in the beauty of the flowers, blooming flowers. Beauty is none other than the beauty of my own consciousness, blissful consciousness. The beauty of the rising sun and sunset on the sea beaches is my own beauty. The beauty of the light of consciousness alone has the beauty. None else has that beauty. And that is why I have fallen from that state. Due to ignorance, I have identified myself as not that self, the self-illumined, self-existing reality, but the body, this perishable body. This is primordial ignorance. my unawareness, obliviousness of my own nature is a root of all this suffering. The reason so prominently, so loudly Upanishads and especially Jagadguru Adi Shankara declares that you are not going to get salvation or liberation or moksha through any number of karmas, because darkness can be removed not by wealth but by light alone. These are the words of Adi Shankara. The darkness can't be dispelled by wealth, which can be earned and which is earned through actions. The darkness can be dispelled only through light. Similarly, our sorrows and sufferings and unfulfillment of our desires and dreams is born out of ignorance, not because of its unavailability. It's available every moment. But the darkness, the ignorance, due to our wrong conviction about our reality that we are body, this perishable body. So any number of action, any karma, let me recite just one shloka of Jagadguru Adi Shankaracharya in Vivek Chudamani. Very bold statements, similar statements. It's very difficult to find that bold statement. Most of the people won't agree. Pathantu shastrani yajantu devan kurvantu karmani bhajantu devata atmaikya bodhena binape nalagate mukti satantarepi. Jagadguru says, Pathantu Shastrani, you read, you do deep study of all the scriptures available on the planet. You worship all the deities in the world. You do any number of yagyas in the world, any number of yagyas you could conceive of. You do all the yagyas, yet all these acts are not going to bring liberation to you, bring light to you, unless and until you finally realize the identity between the individual self and the Supreme Self, that knowledge, that light of the identity between the individual self and that Supreme Reality alone is going to give salvation, liberation, the Supreme Freedom. That is called whatever Nirvana, Moksha or Self-Realization. It's simply because of the explanation I was giving that the love you are seeking, the joy and bliss you are seeking, the immortality you are seeking, and the light you are seeking is not something to be attained from somewhere else, to be manufactured from somewhere else through efforts. None. It is simply because of the darkness, the ignorance, the lack of knowledge of the true self of yours, that you are begging before the world. You are so afraid of being killed, being eliminated, or being miserable, not having bliss and love, or being ignorant, unaware of all the things. You by nature are Sat Chit Ananda. the truth eternal, immortal, that you are, you cannot be extinguished as self, pure intelligence. You are immortal. As self, the light of consciousness, I told you, the light of this entire existence is nothing but an infinite space of consciousness, pure awareness, within which and upon which and through which these millions and trillions of diverse objects just momentarily appear as an appearance, temporary appearance. And that supreme reality is that of the nature of light, that infinite, indivisible, non-dual reality, and that is omnipotent reality. So only through removal of the veil of darkness and ignorance, you are going to see the final cessation of all your sorrows and sufferings will come to an end, not through action, not through riches, not through money, but only through light, light which shows your true nature. I will conclude this today's discourse by a small incident in pertaining to Yajnavalkya and Maitreyi, which will clarify this. The focus is that, and the problem is that darkness, the ignorance alone is our problem. It's not the efforts, the work, the action which are going to and lead to cessation of sorrow and suffering, but the knowledge. That is what the quintessence of Upanishads and Vedanta philosophy, that knowledge alone is going to end your suffering forever, bring that eternal reservoir of bliss to you, and you are immortal. You have to just realize that you don't have to become immortal. You are eternal. Even if you want to kill yourself, you cannot kill yourself. There is no way. It is beyond the capacity of the God or Brahman to kill himself. It's not possible for the God. When Yajnavalkya, he was the greatest intellectual, I would say, of that time. The richest intellectual, greatest intellectual, most revered intellectual of the time. Nobody used to stand the Shastrartha. So, he had two wives. The first one was Katyayani, the second was Maitreyi, whose other name is Gargi also. When he was great intellectual, but still he was not sannyasi. He was married and he was a great master of Vedas and Upanishads. So he realized, as the injunction in the Veda is for the sannyasa in the fourth stage, according to Varanashrama. So he called both of his wives and he asked them that, my beloved ones, now I have decided that now time has come. Now is the time, and it's high time I move towards jungle. I live the lonely life as a sannyasi. I have lived enough of my householder's life. Whatever knowledge I do have, but it's all bookish, scriptural. So for my final attainment, my final self-realization, I will have to go out and become a sannyasi now. So I want to part my entire property. That's why I mentioned before you that he was the richest intellectual. Every shastras he would win. So he had huge amount of wealth and he didn't have any children. So he said that I am going to divide my entire property between two of you. The first wife, the elder one, Katyani said, it's okay. Of course, if you have decided, it's our duty also to support you, not to obstruct your path. It's fine. Do as you wish and proceed. Then he asked Maitreyi. Maitreyi was silent. He asked, why are you silent, Maitreyi? Are you not happy? And he used to love Maitreyi so much. She was younger. She was very brilliant also. Being charmed by her brilliance only, he had proposed, and it was a love marriage. Immediately he proposed. She was so brilliant, and she then married. When he asked, why are you silent? Maitreyi said, my Lord, my beloved, the money and wealth you are going to give me, is it going to make me immortal? Will it be able to buy me immortality? This is the exact translation of what she asked in the Sanskrit, as you could find. Will that money buy me immortality? Yajnavalkya said, my beloved, no. No amount of wealth, no amount of action can buy immortality. Immortality can be bought only and only through knowledge, self-realization. Then she said, then what am I going to do with this wealth? I don't need this wealth. Please give me that knowledge whereby I would become immortal. Please give me that knowledge. I don't need this wealth. And that process of dialogue in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, the greatest of the Upanishads, the largest one, and many of the dimensions I was referring to are from that Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. The Adi Shankara's commentary is superb in that, a rational, purely scientific, non-dual philosophical. And therein that knowledge of true nature of the self, true nature of ours, in the dialogue that is taking place in the court of Raja Emperor Janaka. So, no amount of action and effort, no amount of wealth. You see, let me share with you a small yajna. You must have heard, and I am very surprised since I have been living in Himalayas and Haridwar and various places. Even those sannyasis who are not supposed to do anything, they are doing nothing but yajnas. It's a brazen violation of the injunctions and prescriptions in the Vedas and sannyasa parampara tradition of Adi Shankara. Yajnas have very limited power, worldly power only, all whether Ashwamedha or Rudra. These are worldly glories alone, and the maximum is heaven. Heaven is a worldly glory, ephemeral reality. As far as salvation is concerned, freedom is concerned, self-realization is concerned, enlightenment is concerned, God realization is concerned, the money has zero value. Money has a contrarian value, in fact. The action has zero value. The only limited, and that too comes in the Bhagavad Gita, where Lord Krishna gives a totally different philosophy of Nishkama Karma, and there Jagat Guru Adi Shankara has specific interpretation only to that extent, since it's Vedanta philosophy. If that action becomes helpful in your freedom and knowledge only to the extent that it helps you purify your head and heart and intellect. And a pure heart is very conducive for self-realization. To that extent, even action, and action that is selfless. What about our works? Do we work selflessly? No. Every ordinary work of an ordinary person is done, performed with an objective for fruits. That has zero value. But if you are able to do some karma, some action in yajna spirit for the welfare of the society, welfare of the mankind, not for personal aggrandizement or personal gain, then it becomes helpful in the sense that it enables you to purify your heart, and a pure heart becomes very fertile ground for self-realization. Realization of the true nature of myself, the entire love, bliss and joy I have been running after, the immortality every moment I am seeking, and the light, the eternal light I am looking for, and every jiva is looking for. That through my realization I have come to know, and I come to know that it was all happening in darkness, in ignorance. It is not available anywhere. You work, howsoever, millions and trillions and billions of years. In the sloka of Adi Shankara, you do yajnas, you study all the scriptures for millions and millions of years. Still you are not going to become enlightened, to get self-realization, unless and until you realize the identity between the individual self and the supreme self. And now, through the process of this realization, I realize that I am not the body, I am not the senses, I am beyond this name and form, and my true nature is formless, of the nature of pure awareness, the light of light. And that is of intrinsically, naturally, inherently love, blissful. Love is my nature, all beauty is my nature, all joy is my nature. I need nothing, I lack nothing, I am wholesome, I am fulsome, I am all in all, I am whole of the whole. That is my final secret. That is the supreme secret of existence. That is the greatest mystery of the existence. And whosoever, irrespective of time and climb and region, those who have delved deeper within themselves have realized this alone, that the supreme reality, the Bible calls it the kingdom of God, the Upanishads call it Swarajya Samrajya, the empire of self. So there are words in other philosophies also, but all this is within yourself. Jesus Christ also says that still your mind and know that I am God. That is entire Upanishad also saying the same thing. It's the agitated state of the mind which is projecting the false reality in the external world. The moment our mind becomes cool, calm, the same mind which is the source of bondage, the same mind dissolves within the heart. That heart is nothing but that pure energy field, the Atman. The mind which was source of misery, darkness and bondage, that same mind becomes the vehicle of salvation, freedom, knowledge, and that mind dissolves back into pure awareness. That is entire Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Whatever I have told you, you can experience if you start. I am thinking of after a week or two, I will systematically start the Vedantic meditation process, whereby you can directly experience the self and the nature of the self and the blissfulness of yourself, and in that all the darkness is dispelled. You are free from all the fear. You realize your eternal nature. You realize your infinite, glorious and omnipotent almighty nature. Your will manifests as the entire visible universe. Your desire gets instantly fulfilled, you become the one of the unfailing desires and unfailing will. That is the self-realized masters are supposed to be, and that is the final destination of ours. That is my purpose, and if at all I have helped, or I would be helped even one person, my desire was, after going to Himalayas and getting a great guru, self-realized, a Brahmanist guru, I have lost all my desire to communicate with the world. Still I don't have, if I somewhere feel that nobody needs it, I am damn happy. I am not interested in speaking to anybody. But so many people have told me, sannyasi friends of mine, that no, Swami, you must continue. There are people who are likely to be benefited. And great saints have told us that even if you help one person, two person, because that phenomena is unparalleled in the history, because it's told in the scriptures that one self-realized master, once his presence in the universe, in the planet, is such a revolutionary condition that it helps tremendous creation of tremendous energy in the entire human verse. So my effort is, if even some people, not that ultimate necessarily, but even you people, ordinary householders, can benefit leading their ordinary lives. They can realize their glory. They don't need to think that they are the beggar, the paupers, eternal paupers. Always they have to beg before. No, keep in mind that you are the supreme reality. Remain and fulfill your duties, that doesn't matter. But be convinced of your true nature, that is immortal, invincible, almighty, and wholesome and fulsome reality, entire and infinite ocean of bliss, love and beauty, that you are. Light that you are, all the knowledge belongs to you. You are an infinite empire of awareness, knowledge, that you are. Even thinking, imagining this revolutionize your life from day one. I hope and pray that some of the dimensions, if you understood, start practicing. You don't need time. In your practical life, it will help. It will transform your life beyond imagination. That is my wish. That is my wish. May God bless all of you. Chidananda Rupa Shivoham Shivoham Chidananda Rupa Shivoham Shivoham Chidananda Rupa Shivoham Shivoham Nara Namo Nara.